Please welcome Lydia Gardner.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here today. We are super excited about this opportunity, and yeah, thank you for coming. And above all else, I'm just happy to be here sharing the magic of camp. And if there's one thing you leave with today, I hope it is the feeling and the belief that camp is so much more than what meets the eye. And as I like to say, so much s'more, because camp loves. So I'm the program manager at Pointe Outdoor Center. Alan McBride is our director, and he's here today too, over in the green. See if you guys can go to the next slide. Keep on going. All right, so we're here today to present the Easterseals Giving Circle campership opportunity today. So we're hoping that at the end of this, you guys will be able to fund camperships, which are scholarships for individuals with disabilities or challenging illnesses to come out to camp for a week of overnight camp. So I'll start by telling you just a little bit about us, because we are kind of a hidden gem. Not a lot of people have heard about Easterseals, right? But not as many have heard about Pointe. And again, I'm here to tell you that camp is a lot much more than just s'mores and a good time. So as you all know, we are owned and operated by Easterseals, Central Illinois. We are on the beautiful property by Lake Bloomington. It's a 170-acre property that is just absolutely gorgeous. Again, a hidden gem. You wouldn't know it when you drive by us. And our mission is to provide specialized outdoor experiential and family programs in a fun, safe, and accessible environment. So no matter what the diagnosis or disability, they get to come out to camp and have the adventure of a lifetime. We are ACA accredited, which is the American Camp Association, so there are all sorts of standards and policies and things like that, inspections that we go through to maintain the best status that we absolutely can as a camp. So who do we serve? We serve individuals, again, with any diagnosis or disability. So this can range from cancer, bleeding disorders, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, traumatic brain injuries, rare and genetic disorders, pretty much you name it, and we see it out at camp. So again, there is no requirement. We accept children with any sort of behavioral, physical, mental, social challenges, and we help them find success at camp. We also serve families out at camp. So especially with the pandemic, we've had to pivot in our programming a little bit, and so getting to serve the whole family unit is a big part of what we do out at camp. And whether that's by providing respite as their camper comes to camp, or whether that's by actually having the whole family come out and stay in a cabin and get to play and explore and adventure together, we serve the whole family. So the culture of camp is like its own unique world that if you went to camp as a kid, you know and understand, but every camp's culture is different, and at Pointe, it's extra special. So we value accomplishment, accessibility, and adventure. And when I talk about accomplishment, we recognize that accomplishment and success, it looks different for everybody. So everybody's wins are going to look a little different at camp. So what might be, a baby step for one camper is a huge milestone for another. And so we really work with the individual to determine what success looks like for them. Like everywhere at Easterseals, everyone is 100% included and 100% empowered at camp. So we're not going to run an activity, we're not going to do that activity if every single child there or adult is able to participate in a way that works for them. And again, like you saw in the video, that might look different, right? So we have adaptive archery, so they might be shooting the bow and arrow a little differently, but they're still included and they're still empowered and they're still learning at camp. So our focus, we're looking at what those campers can do, not what they cannot. We're looking at their strengths, we're looking at their abilities, and we're celebrating that. These are children and adults that have been told a lot through their life, they can't, they won't, they will never be able to fill in the blank. And at camp, we're here to say, you can. So we don't like to use the word can't around there. Keep going. So we recognize that inclusion, that doesn't equal special treatment, right? it's equal treatment and equal opportunities. So just like any neurotypical child can go to camp, right, and they can do archery, they can do zip line, they can do horseback riding, we want to provide that same opportunity for the campers that we serve. We want to give them that undeniable experience, incredibly valuable of camp. So what does our schedule look like? So we are year-round, but obviously our main season is summer. So during summer, we have 2 weeks of staff training. So our staff come out and they train hard. They learn everything from behavioral solutions to how to transfer an individual in a wheelchair, emergency procedures, all that good stuff. And then we typically have 10 to 11 weeks of summer camp. So we do work with partner organizations such as St. Jude, so they'll bring out kiddos with cancer, bleeding disorders for a week, Muscular Dystrophy Association, things like that. But then we also run our own Pointe camps. So it's usually about 5 weeks of our own camps and maybe 5 to 6 weeks of partner camps. It just kind of depends on the summer. And simultaneously, while we run our overnight camps, we also have day camps for kiddos as well. And then, as I mentioned before, we do family retreats or family camps, during the weekend throughout the year. So we've actually got one coming up next week. And that's for families who have a child with a disability. And they get to come out, stay in a cabin, and play and explore together. And last but not least, we have respite weekend camps. So we've got a Halloween camp at the end of October. We got a St. Patrick's Day in March that we're hoping you guys get to come out to during the tour. And those provide, kind of that ongoing chance for kids to come out and be who they are at camp while giving their parents and caregivers a really well-served break. All right, so at camp we do it all. We do all your, traditional, well-known and loved activities, and then plus some. So all of these activities that you see are completely adaptive. So for instance, our canoeing, we actually have a boat lift where you can transfer the individual straight into the canoe and then lower them down into the water. Our zip line, our giant swing, again, completely adaptive, so we transfer them into a sling seat, raise them up, and they get to go flying through the air, which is just the most magical thing to see. I cried the first time I saw it, just overcome with emotion. We've got a swimming pool, we do archery, pontoon boating, sensory play, science, cooking is new and they love that, as well as a whole bunch of extra special activities, food fights, dance parties, all of that good stuff. Again, we do not hold back at camp. We want to give them that experience that you see in the movies, the experience you read about, the experience that they've heard about from their siblings who come home, but they haven't been able to go yet. That's what we want to give them. All right, so our day camps, they are inclusive in nature, so it's for children with or without disabilities, ages 5 through 17, and they just come from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, but they get to participate in all of those camp activities that we run. It's a neat program because you see those friendships and relationships develop between kids that might not be, usually in the same place at school. And so they get to develop these meaningful relationships that continue much longer after they leave camp. Our overnight camps, those are Sunday through Friday. And so we'll have camps for kiddos and we'll have camps for adults with disabilities. So the staff will stay in the cabins with the campers. So our counselors, we have no more than a 4-to-1 ratio, just depending on that individual's needs and level of support. So every night will be a special nighttime activity. So it might be a pool party, campfire and s'mores, boat night where individuals on Lake Bloomington come over with their pontoon boats and they take a group of campers out on the lake. It might be a surprise activity, so lip sync battle, food fight, messy Olympics. We get wacky, we get weird. That's what creates memories out at camp. And overnight camp, again, is that chance to be away from home, and that not only serves that individual by gaining independence and confidence of, hey, I'm okay without mom or dad, or I can do this by myself. But it's also giving mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever it is that, as a caregiver for this individual, it gives them a whole week of well-needed, valuable respite where they get to take time for themselves or other family members. I've had parents say, this is the first time I slept through the night in 7 years. Because some of these kids, they require medical care during the night, They might wake up at 3 a.m. every day, and that's just what they do. And so for a parent, they might not be comfortable asking grandma, grandpa, aunt, or uncle, a regular babysitter to care for their child. But our staff, again, they're very well trained, they're very compassionate, they're the most incredible group of humans. And so when that parent drops off their child, they feel safe. And they feel like they can go home and take a nap or sleep through the night, or go out to dinner with their spouse or partner. Maybe they go out to a movie with their other child because the child that's at camp can't handle that from a sensory standpoint. All right, so the power of camp. Again, camp is more than what meets the eye. It's more than s'mores, it's more than bunk beds. It creates a space without pressure. So for a lot of our campers, school can equal pressure. And they can feel defeated, they can feel overwhelmed by the pace and the demands of school. But at camp, they just get to feel good about who they are. It's a breathing space where they get to play and they get to learn and they get to try new things. It rewards less common learning styles. So a lot of our campers, they experience the world differently than you and I. They experience the world through sights, through sounds, through the use of their bodies. And at camp, it is that experiential learning environment where they get to touch and they get to play and they get to move and they get to just be. It promotes skill development. Like I said, all of our activities are completely adaptive. So maybe they try something at camp and then they go home and they say, Mom, Dad, I loved archery. Can I please try this at home? Can I sign up for a horseback riding class? A lot of our parents will say, I never thought that this is something they could do or they would be interested in. And now it's their passion and a new hobby for them. Nature deficit disorder is a real thing, right? Individuals, especially kids, they're in the environment a lot less than they were 20 years ago. I remember just being outside all the time. But nowadays, it's not necessarily that way, or again, they might not have access to the outdoors, which is proven to have incredible health benefits. It creates meaningful relationships. So again, these are individuals they might not interact with in their day-to-day life. They get to develop this therapeutic, incredible connection with their counselors who love and support them for exactly who they are. And finally, it encourages independence. It gives them a space to be themselves and to take accountability for what they want to try and what they want to do and who they want to be, because they're in a space where every single person believes in them and sees their potential and is cheering them on along the way. So I'm here today to tell you camp is more, but camp is an essential experience. It's something that every single person should be able to access and should be able to enjoy. And that's where you guys come in. For low-income families, camp is just not part of the budget, right? They need to buy food, they need to pay the bills. Camp is not a line item in their year-to-year budget. It's not something that is an essential, it's a luxury. Disability is generally more common among low-income households. That's due to a few different things. So this past year alone, in 2021, 44% of our overnight and day campers applied for financial assistance. So we provide what we call camperships, which are scholarships or financial assistance to families. This past year, they could indicate whether they wanted, whether they needed a 25, 50, 75, or 100% campership. So here's a couple quotes from those applications. They do apply for financial assistance, and we do give them a chance to share their story because we understand that what's on a tax return might not reflect what's actually happening in that family, especially with a child with a disability. There are much higher medical costs. So this one says, just in case for the people farther in the back, this one says, my husband is disabled due to stage 4 cancer that is in remission, but we're now dealing with a different form of cancer and struggling big time. My son is autistic and has ADHD, so he needs as much opportunity for social skills as possible. I hope that he meets new friends and thrives at camp. And boy, did he ever. He's actually someone I said, you could be a counselor one day, young man. I am a single mother on a very tight budget. I can't afford to send him all on my own. I want him to be around others like him with disabilities and feel like he fits in. Their father has left and taken our savings with him. I've returned to school but cannot earn enough with the time I have for work to provide more than just the basics. This year has been so isolating. My son doesn't see any value in making friends. I'm hoping he might find a few children with similar interests and he'll understand how valuable friendship can be. My daughter loves to be with other children, but sometimes doubts herself. I hope she will be proud of all she can accomplish at camp. All right, so where does the Giving Circle come in specifically? We're hoping and we're asking the Giving Circle to provide 30 overnight camper shifts throughout the summer. So $1,200 since one camper for a week. Again, we've got low ratios, so because of that, obviously we have more staff than what another camp might require, and that's because we want to give that camper the utmost care and attention that they deserve. So the math, 30 times 1,200, that's $36,000 right there. And this is, something that is built into our budget because we never, ever, ever want to turn away a family from camp because of financial reasons. We believe, again, camp is an essential experience, camp is more, and everyone deserves that. So this $36,000, it would be more than just the funding alone. So what we would ask of the Giving Circle is for you guys to actually take ownership of a week of summer camp. So that would mean, volunteering. So maybe there's a group that comes out and helps us decorate pre-camp. Every week has a unique theme, so whether it's cruise week, we did that one, mystery week, jungle week, you name it, we go all out. We want them to walk into the lodge and be blown away and excited and feel like it's magical. Maybe you're helping with check-in, maybe you're sidewalking during horseback riding, maybe you're running the carnival games and giving out prizes and snow cones, or maybe you're scooping ice cream at the weekly dance party. This could also look like getting donated items. So the amount of duct tape I use in one summer alone is wild, and it's not that cheap. So, maybe there's a duct tape drive, maybe there's a recyclable drive. Again, cardboard tubes, all of that, costumes, we use a lot of it, and we do wacky things with it. So this fashion show, we actually have a trashing show at camp where they use recycled objects or things other people might think of as garbage, and they dress their counselors in cool, trendy outfits. Maybe it's a costume drive for all of our ugly counselor contests and themed dress-up days. Or maybe it's some additional fun. So where does that extra $4,000 come in if our goal is $40,000? You guys get to decide how to use it, which is kind of an extra bonus to this opportunity. So here's a few ideas that I thought of, but of course we would be so happy to hear yours. So you could, use the extra $4,000 to provide additional camper shifts, go above and beyond the 30 campers, right? Maybe you do t-shirts or merch for campers coming that week, and you have Easterseals Giving Circle on the t-shirt. Our campers are always asking for t-shirts and water bottles, and unfortunately, it's not always in the budget. But we love to give them something to take home. Maybe you bring in special outside entertainment or experiences, so performers, a bounce house or an inflatable, a wildlife show, whatever fits for that week. Bring in something special that really wows them. Maybe you make self-care baskets for the parents and caregivers that you give to them when they drop off their camper. So maybe this has some spa supplies or a gift card to a nice dinner, something that they can take home and use during their week without that child. And they miss them a lot, but let me tell you, their faces when they drop them off and when they return are wildly different. They're just well rested and they have more gas in the tank. So the possibilities are really truly endless with this. But the cool part is that you guys get to bring in that extra magic and get to provide extra hands and extra thought that our very small full-time team just unfortunately cannot always provide. So these weeks are super fun, but the potential here is to make it exponentially more powerful and more magical. So again, camp is more than meets the eye. But as these pictures show, what meets the eye is pretty dang special too. So camp is more than rock climbing and zip lining, Camp is a sense of bravery, a sense of accomplishment. It is the chance to fly. Camp is more than songs and cheers. It's being a part of a community where you are loved and accepted for exactly who you are. Camp is more than canoeing and horseback riding. It's trying something new that you didn't think possible because your brain and your body might work differently than other people. Camp is more than dance parties and talent shows. It's a celebration of the meaningful relationships and memories created of a week that is somehow both everlasting and fleeting at the same time. Camp is more than mosquito bites, s'mores, and bunk beds. It's a chance to live life to the fullest and get to experience things that you and I might take for granted. Camp is more than time away from home. It's a chance to practice growing up outside of the immediate family, to gain independence, and to give parents and caregivers a well-deserved break. Camp is more than woods and trails. It's a chance to breathe, it's a chance to be, it's a chance to become. Camp is more than college-age counselors and summer jobs. It's people who believe in you, who love you unconditionally, and who cheer you on through successes and challenges. People that hold you in their hearts long after that summer. And finally, camp is more than campfires. It's an experience that helps campers burn bright, that instills flames of confidence, independence, and hope that glow long after they leave our caves. Everyone deserves camp, and we hope that you guys will help give this gift to more individuals in 2022. Thank you guys.